Welcome back everybody to another video. In this video I am going to cover the AVR versus separates components for Dolby Atmos. Now this is more of a comparison video and not a versus battle. But in this video I'm going to give you guys my take on if you even need to upgrade to separates and what really is the sound difference, especially if you're already running a high-end receiver. Before I begin, if you don't know what AVR is an audio video receiver, which comprise of your video processing and an amplifier that will push power to your speakers, all in one combo. Everything you need to run a home theater sound. And for separates, exactly what it says. It will separate your processing from your amplifier separately. First off, with separates, you're gonna need more space and room to run all your RCAs or XLR cables along with your speaker cables. For the power amplifier, if you're gonna put it on a rack, it has to have a high enough clearance space to anticipate extreme heat, and a minimum of 4 inches around the back of the unit is recommended by the manual. The pre-pro or processor I am running is the Rotel RSP-1576. The power amp I'm currently using is the Rotel RKB-8100, which is an 8 channels driven, pushing 100 watts each. The AVR I'm using to compare is the Arcam AVR 550, which is a 7 channel pushing 90 watts each, and for 2 channels driven it can reach 110 watts RMS. The power difference with the separates and AVR running similar power is actually really hard to tell through the speakers. And yes, the sound separation is superior on the separates over the AVR. So the only way that I knew that this running separates was a lot more powerful, pushing to the speakers or amp, or pushing this to the speakers or subwoofer. And by the way, the amp is not really pushing the wattage. It's more of your speakers drawing power from the wattage, from the amp. But the only way I knew is when I swap the AVR with the separates on the same subwoofer, and I quickly noticed that the subwoofer I was running previously for the AVR, when I swap it for the separates, it couldn't handle the separates amplifier. It became distorted and not clean when I ran it at higher levels. So previously before that, which it had deep toning, it was clean on the Valentine 8-inch subwoofer that I was running previously. And then the Valentine 8-inch subwoofer, when I ran it with separates, it couldn't handle the power. It, like I said, it became distorted and it bottomed out at higher levels. So I had to swap it out with my Rel 10-inch T9X, and that can handle the power. And on a side note, my other Valentine 12-inch, it can handle the power just fine with the separates amplifier. It's just that the 8-inch model, for some reason, it just couldn't handle it. It was just too much power. But that being said, that Valentine 8-inch subwoofer, when I ran it previously, and it ran just fine with the AVR. On top of that, the other subwoofer I ran with the Valentine is a Niles compact 8-inch, and I let the Valentine 8-inch handle all the the LFE, and I'll let the Niles 8-inch handle all the low frequency, because the Niles 8-inch subwoofer, that bottoms out at a certain level, whereas the Valentine can handle everything. But that being said, when I pushed it with my separates amplifier, it just couldn't handle it. So that's why I had to swap it out with my 10-inch Rel T9X. So that is what that is why I know that the amplifier through the separates is pushing a lot more power to the speakers, or in other words, where the speakers can actually draw more power from the amp. So overall, for the separates over AVRs, separates will give you the nearest sound quality, closer to the theater sound than an AVR. And of course, it will also depend on your setup, make and model of your audio equipments. The major differences on separates: the sound is going to be more impactful, along with a much better sound separations than an AVR. The other difference is for the processor. It will have better components inside it, and the amp portion will not be jeopardized by the processing due to extreme heat. Also, having a dedicated processor and amplifier, you can always upgrade your processor and still use the same amplifier, because technology changes all the time. 8K to probably 10K, then so forth. You can always upgrade your processors, so you're pre-pro without a problem, and you don't have to buy a new amp unless it dies, which the amplifiers is made to last for a very long time. The real question is, do you need to upgrade to the separates components? The answer, I'm sorry guys, is no and yes. No, because a good AVR will complete all your needs, and a good AVR, you don't need a lot of room and space. You don't even need a rack to run AVRs, and the sound quality, if you got a high-end one, will be suffice. And I have to say yes only to those who are ready to take one more step closer to that theater-like sound, and also if they're ready to run all those cables and have room for the heat and anticipation and all that. So that is why I say yes is for those who are ready to take that step. So that is pretty much my take on the AVR versus the separates. I hope you guys learned something from it. Thanks guys for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hooded Dragons out.